You will become more selfless. Have you ever thought about that? Or have you thought about what that means? What does selfless mean? Um, that thing about caring more for the needs of others rather than yourself. Um, we probably don't get there a lot in our lives, or we don't appreciate that, or maybe we don't think that we can do that. Because, see, that was the title of a message that I received on this date, October 29th in 2020. And I'm going to read it to you and then I'm going to explain it because when I explain it, it's going to make so much sense to you now, and you're going to understand what's happening in your life, what's happening in our world, and why this is the absolute best time for you to be alive on the planet. And I'll tell you that that is absolutely true. But let's look at the message first. I have this one, then I'm going to show you something else that's going to help have this make sense. Okay, and it is here. Yeah, it was October 29th of 2020. You will become more selfless. Yes, we speak to you, the world, and the United States specifically, as we have said continually. When Roger awakened this morning, we had him search for the definition of selfless. And when this occurs, Roger knows it is because he is ignoring something right before him, as most of you do. We will indeed explain. Yesterday, Roger held the final meeting of his 4-week series on empowerment. During that session and many others Roger had during the day, he continually pointed out to his clients their reluctance to acknowledge their accomplishment, and he was doing the same thing. The webinar went wonderfully, and Roger knew he was doing the work he was meant to do, and it was a feeling of complete fulfillment. Later that night, in conversation with a friend, Roger asked them about their day, rather than seeking confirmation of his. That sentence is the most important in this communication, for it is the secret sauce to the restructuring you all desire and what would aid the evolution of all. What occurred was Roger was so fulfilled within himself that the idea that he had to get anything from others was non existent, which is a new space for him and most likely you. You each were born this lifetime to accomplish your goal of involvement that would naturally cause the involvement of all, for you are all one. The challenge you have is accepting all of you. When you do, you become more selfless, for that is a natural result of evolvement. Please study this message, for it will aid you over the next several months of your continual individual and collective resistance to change. But again, that is also a part of evolution. Remember, you will be fine. Now, I had questions about that afterwards as well. Why did I have that there? It's because I was being selfish, actually, because that's what that message was pointing out. Um, the judgment that I feared about what I had done was so powerful that I wasn't going to tell people. See, because in that statement about the United States, I had all the information of what was going to be happening, what you're witnessing and experiencing now. Which my Wilhelm called a restructuring. I knew that because we were going to bring up all of our old stuff, you see. When we in our lives, no matter who we are, we come into the world and we have to navigate our ways. And so we will do that through our consciousness. We will each do it in different ways, education, mentors, whatever it might be. I wrote it all as well. I did it differently. I accessed cosmic consciousness. And it was the most unbelievable thing to me. And that's why I stopped. When Wilhelm talked about that 4 weeks course, that was when I began. That's when I was going to start it in 2021. But I was doubting it because I knew the world would be changing and that people would want more help in becoming empowered, owning who they are, living their life purpose. That's all we want. And I had that information to guide someone to their life purpose, and then we start creating a better world. Because see, the way that we get there is that we ascend to higher states of consciousness, and then we have to let go of certain things. For me, it was letting go of all the programmed things that have been in my lineage as it is for everyone. I talked about this before. I'm going to bring it up again because in 2016, I wrote an article and they're on my website, rogerburnley.com. You can read them all there because I said I might be racist with misogynistic tendencies. And in that article, I explained that because I know that we all have that within us. And when we don't acknowledge it, we can't become the people as a civilization that we want to become, and we can't become the individuals. Because, see, what I had to acknowledge is that that feeling that exists in your soul has always been around. We each have it, but we decide if we're going to move beyond it. And this is the time in our world where I knew we were all supposed to move beyond it, and the United States would be the best example for that. And we're seeing that now. We're going to see where we're not owning ourselves. And so then we have to, like, hurt others or put others down. That's what happens. When we move through evolution in ourselves and in our world, it's always a process of becoming more loving, inclusive, and owning ourselves. You can go back and study history over time. You'll see that it's happened. But this time, it's more about women. It's more about that female energy, and it's more about men deciding that they're going to let go of their patriarchal ideas and ideologies and embrace more the feminine energy. And that seems a little scary because you have to become vulnerable to do that. But everyone can. And then what happens is you heal. You heal physically, mentally, emotionally. And I know that because that's what this work did for me. And that's what I wanted for everyone else. But uncovering that and being able to tell someone this is how it happened was challenging. So today I did something else because I want you to understand it because you may be moving through this. You might be coming, you are coming up with things that are being revealed to you. That's how we all evolve over time. So that's happening for you. But trusting it just takes some time. So when I had to go in and look that up, that message that I read to you, that's how I receive communication. I'm having a conversation, and a lot of time I'm arguing with myself, like you might be. And that's going to be also the Wilhelm channeling session we're doing for the new moon about ending that inner war that you have. We all have it. We will think, I can do this. I'm supposed to. No, I can't. That's what we move through. It's all a process of your consciousness and your mindset. And for 35 years, that's what Wilhelm has given me. And that's why it healed. That's why I had all of this. But then also owning it was challenging. But let me show you this because this will help you as well. So I'm so thrilled that we have AI now so I can check things because I always received it intuitively and I just have to check it in this physical world. So I said, can selfishness turn into selfishness if carried too far? You don't want to share what you know is selfish, but sharing what you have learned could be an act of selfishness. Is that correct? And then I'm just trying to figure it out because I know that's what I've done most of my life. That's all I was giving everything to everyone because I felt this need that I had to. And then the answer, yes, that's a valid insight. Selflessness, especially when it involves sharing valuable knowledge or wisdom, can be a deeply generous act. When we learn something transformative, sharing it often aligns with the intention to help others grow, heal, or navigate their lives more effectively. However, selflessness can blur into selfishness if it turns into a self sacrificing attitude where one neglects their own needs, or if it fosters a sense of superiority over others. At that point, the act may no longer come from a place of genuine giving. This can happen if someone withholds sharing out of fear of judgment or overprotectiveness of their insights, or if they share excessively to satisfy their own ego. It's about balance. Genuine selflessness is rooted in humility and empathy, while a form of selfishness might arise when we overly concerned with how our selflessness reflects on us or if we hoard insights. The key is to share with the intention to benefit others while remaining open and mindful of our motivations. And that has always been my challenge because accepting what I had done and sharing, it's like, oh, wow, that's going to be too much. You may have had that. You may have felt something come up for you that you thought, I can't really do this or talk to others about it, but you're supposed to do it now. You have a very unique life plan, and I know that because I was given a message on your birthday. That was the other thing that was challenging for me to accept. We are all connected in the universe, and it is in our consciousness. And I absolutely know that. I had a session this morning with someone, a private channeling session. And what happens is I can take their birthday and look at things that had happened over the last several years and know where they are now, how to guide them to the next place. That's all I'm doing is just giving them confirmation through Wilhelm of what's going on. It's consciousness. And sometimes we access it differently. But because I accessed it in this way, it was challenging for me to own it and share it with others. But we're in a world now where if we can honor that other aspect, that spiritual side that we all possess, and many of us might have been hiding from it for a while, but this is the time to bring it about. Because everything is energy. Our evolutionary path is filled with all of these energetic changes we have moved through in our lifetime, wherever that might be. And we've also had all the horrible stuff that we're judging everyone else about. And so the way that we heal internally is by acknowledging that and decide to move through it. We may try to hide. We may say, no, this didn't happen. And my history doesn't have anything to do with what's going on in the world right now. And that's because you don't know that you are that important. Every single soul has this mission, something they're meant to do, and that's what I know. Now, I understand everyone's not going to do this work. Everyone's not going to decide that they're going to do that shadow work or go within and find out who they are. But I tell you what happens when you do. You become happy. You move out of your pain, your trauma, whatever that is. And that's exactly what all the work that Wilhelm has given me, that's what it's done. And so I can say to you now, you don't have any difficulties. You don't have any things that you might consider problems. They're opportunities. They're things that you can use to create the life that you're meant to have and to become authentic. That's the thing that everyone wants, but you have to understand you've been programmed to believe something else. So it just may take you some time before you start to accept the brilliance that is you. I can say all of these things now because, in a few days I'll be 74. So I do know how these things change. And when you talk about ascension, and I've said, and Wilhelm has said so much, we've given you an ascension guide. Yeah, all of it. That's what I went through. Every dark night of the soul you can imagine, every sort of a difficult, challenging thing. But with this work, I was able to transcend it. But telling others that was really challenging. And in a Wilhelm channeling session, you'll hear where it comes through that the thing that I was most afraid of is how many people might come to me. That's not going to happen because most people won't even believe that they can accomplish certain things. It's breaking through that barrier in your consciousness. But I will tell you this, and you will decide if you're going to believe it or not. And that's an individual choice. And I had to move through it as well. But you were born to do something that is really valuable. And once you do that, your life will start to move in a different way. And then you will start to make a contribution to the changing of our world because we all do that. And this period of time is where we are meant to bring in more light, where more people feel their importance, especially women, especially those of color and other races, and all of those that we have kind of put away for a long time. No, we're supposed to embrace all of us because we're all one. That's the place that we're always trying to move to in our world and in our civilizations. But then we go through periods as we're in now where it seems chaotic. But the chaos is to get us to own who we are. That's why it's moving you there. That's why you feel uncomfortable because you're supposed to have everything. You're supposed to have a brilliant life. And that happens when you connect to your authentic self. And so now that I can finally connect to my authentic self after all these years, I can become more selfless as I've always been. But now I want everyone else to understand that because that means that you come to accept who you are, your life journey, why you're on the earth, because it is valuable. And I'm so happy that I can guide people to that place. And that's what I'm spending the rest of my time doing now. When I thought that it was really difficult to do the private channelings or even the live ones, it's become the most fun thing. So that's why I'm shifting. At this age, I'm shifting to go into that because we're going to, the more of us who understand what's happening right now, we can create these wonderful lives and then we'll see that great future for all of us. We're going to see it in our generations to come because we can move through everything now in our lives and give it to others. That is how civilization evolves, and we're doing it now. No matter what you might see, especially in the United States, if you're looking at the election, that's the choice that you're making. Is about, are you going to love yourself? Because see, loving you, you come to this place where you understand that when you start to love yourself, you may do that. You'll do that with others because you see a different level of consciousness when that happens. But I will say this, you cannot expect anyone else to change. That's going to be you. See, that's what we do. We come into the world and we see things that we don't like, and we are waiting for someone else to change it for us in our lives and also in the world, not remembering that we are the ones who are creating everything. We create our governments, we create everything. But it's challenging to do that when we not haven't given ourselves self-ownership, knowing the value of who we are. And that's why I was given this philosophy. And so you'll hear press releases coming out about this because now it's all been made very clear. And I've talked about it, and I went to Gaia, and that's going to be out soon. But yes, I received all of this, and it was a journey through my entire life. And now I can give it to others because I never want to see anyone struggle. And I know you don't have to, because when you understand who you are and that purpose that I can guide you to, you live a much different life. Yes, it may take some time, but you get there. And we saw that this morning with in our group that we do with the program, where someone had been moving through so many horrible things for years, and now they're in a completely different place. It's in consciousness, and everyone can do it. And that's going to be my message moving forward. So please check out everything. Come to the channeling session on Friday and look at all the work. You're going to see things changing on my website. There are many articles there you can read now that's going to give you so much understanding and help because, again, it's all in your consciousness and you're in the world to do something brilliant. And I know that. All right. See you soon.